Bastards, today we're going to talk about self-defense tools. Uh, in especially self-defense tools that you can buy or get as a civilian. And we're not going to in depth about real firearms or um, or real specialized weapons. So this is the thing we're going to talk about today. In another video, I will talk about prevention, how to become a gray man, de-escalation, and that such things for against attackers or invaders or looters or thieves, burglars, that sort of thing. This will be mostly about self-defense. We're not also not going to talk about protection because I already made a video about body armor. You can look it up and get into those depths. Yeah. So I will also make a video about burglars at night. So now we're going to talk about self-defense weapons. Uh, yeah. So let's get started. So these are technically not real firearms, but I'm going to talk about two types of blank pistols and revolvers. First, this is the M9 black revolver that shoots blanks. It's empty, as you can perhaps see. Take it off. So, if you would be face to face with somebody who has a weapon like this, if you can be the toughest burglar, thief, or gang member. If you are face to face with somebody who has this thing and you hear this sound, that's already a red sign for them. If they would go further, you can use ammo. Like you can see, these are blanks. These are bullets without shells, with only the powder in it. So these are not harmful. These are actually loud. So always when you're trying to use these, if it's in real thing, if it's in a real situation or just for practicing, just try to wear earplugs. So the next thing is a revolver, alarm revolver. I would actually prefer to use this one because I will going to show it to you how it will work. But with this, you don't see the flame coming from out of this, but out of this together with the shell, you will see a flame going up around, going to be fast. But it's more realistic with this because the fire comes from the cylinders like a real revolver, and it's making the same sounds. So let's go test these two out to show you. I'm going to wear first of all ear protection, very important, and and eye protection, very important when you're going to use things like this because the shells can fly, black powder that is burnt flies around and can damage your eyes, or in the worst case scenario there is a blockage and by overpressure the barrel will explode and you don't want those metal splinters into your eye. These are less likely to happen, but just safety comes before everything. So let's test these two babies out. So you saw how realistic blank pistols can look like when a burglar, looter, or attacker hears those shots. Take my word, they will not go further and take risks. So try to use it like a real weapon, and try to use it in a way that you're not discovered that it's a blank pistol. So, and after every use, even if you make one shot, you have to take the gun apart and clean everything because blank pistols, the powder does not get blown out. So the pieces of burnt gunpowder will stick to the sides and will cut up everything. So clean it after every use. In Belgium, pepper spray is forbidden, but I say you can it's a good weapon for self-defense. If you get caught, I would consider it less than someday I'm gonna get attacked and I don't have this on hands. I usually put this in my EDC bag. So, what is this? This is a makeshift improvised pepper spray. What is in it? It's a alcohol gel, a mix of alcohol gel, pimenton from hot spices, and Tabasco sauce. I put the alcohol gel in it. The alcohol gel must be very liquid, so it's a more, like you can hear, more like a liquid instead of a thick paste. What do? You put it, if you perhaps can see, you put it in a bottle. This one is a bottle with hand gel, which is very common to have in your bag. So when they search your bag, this will not be get into the eye of some security, I guess, or even an attacker who will think, oh, what is he going to do with that? What do? You just do this open. You know what? Let's go in to test it out outside. So not really a self-defense tool, but I consider it like that. A good flashlight. You can use just a regular flashlight, even perhaps the one of your phone, but I would advise to use a headlight for blinding your attacker. Why? So you have both your hands free to use it on a person. Let's see how this. Voilà. Imagine when you try to attack me and you have always this thing in your eyes. It's very annoying. It will, especially in the night, it will be more effective then. And you have both your hands free for attacking the to do self-defense while the person is trying to attack you. So a good flashlight is a good self-defense tool. So another self-defense tool is just your imagination. Improvise. Like we saw in the Divide, there was a girl in the movie that didn't have a weapon. So what did she do? She grabbed an empty can, took off the sides, and this is sharp enough to slice a person or to keep him off your body. So your imagination is one of the best self-defense tools, to be honest. So let's test it out on that bottle over there. Imagine that is the face of an attacker or something. It must be always full for most to be more effective. You say, "Don't get back," and you can see two good squirts right in his face. He will be blinded, and you can get away without physical damage to both parties. So that's even better. So that's how you use the makeshift pepper spray. A basic self-defense tool, perhaps something that you always wear on your pocket or something, even at home, perhaps, is just keys. Just take a firm key with the edgy point, and with that, somebody attacks you, you can try to step in vulnerable places, the face, the eyes, the throat, perhaps even when they try to grab you, into the wrist, so they have to let go. Something, it will not kill the attacker, but it's a way for a distraction, for wounding, so you can get away from the situation or make the other person stop, because he will think, oh shit, this person is really putting up a fight. I will not continue with this for more damage. So that's just keys are a good self-defense. The old trusty multi-tool, a good weapon for self-defense. It has a small blade which you can use for stabbing, slashing, stabbing again, backwards. Yeah, sorry for the coughing. So just the multi-tool you always wear is a very good self-defense weapon. Always keep it on your belt or something, and it's a good tool that you always can use. I would never leave the house or walk around without this thing on my belt. So if you think that this is a real AK, don't worry, it's just an airsoft gun. But yet again, it's a good deterrent weapon when shit hit the fan, and there are perhaps gangs roaming around, criminals, and you want to deter them from coming to your property. So if you carry something like this around, most people, I would watch with these words, most people will not try to mess with you. So if you can see, it is just something to as a deterrent. You don't have to shoot, but try to de-escalate. Try to make it that you don't want to shoot, but act like you're willing to. So just a fake weapon as a deterrent is always a good strategy when you don't have real weapons at hand, or as a deterrent for bigger threats like I said, multiple persons like a gang or something. They will think that you have this more force multiplier. So just a fake weapon can deter most criminals and attackers. Alright, the first thing we're going to test now is the air rifle. The air rifle is just a simple, like the name says, a simple air rifle. But if you have one with a good power, like 7.5 joule, which is the maximum force it is allowed to fire without a permit in Belgium, it is one of those things. I'm going to shoot this bottle with sand that I hang there to show the power of this thing. So imagine when you got a burglar, looter, or whatever coming onto your property, and he will take some damage with this thing, even though it doesn't look like it. Safety off. Right. Let's go check it out. Oh yeah, Erie went through, and he did not get through the whole bottle, but yet again, the fact that he's probably inside of the burglar, so that will be a nasty wound for it. So an air rifle is a good deterrent and also a useful hunting tool for when shit hit the fan. So a regular bow. This is a long bow, but you can use any kind of bow, recurve bow, a compound bow, to deter intruders, and it's also a useful hunting tool for catching birds and rodents and small game. Perhaps when you have the right arrows, big game, because this is just a sports arrow. So when you get bores on it, it will have more penetration power. So we'll see what it gives to the bottle. Like you perhaps could have seen, it went right through the bottle with sand. So I would say it has enough power, but don't forget, this is more to incapacitate an intruder or a person that you, or a piece of game that you want to hunt, because a person who gets hit by an arrow does not die immediately. In the medieval times, when they used bows, most of the persons who died of arrows died of infections. And in a shitty defense situation, the last thing you want is an infection. So, yeah, is a good, cheap deterrent weapon, self-defense. So, it's multifunctional. So yeah, a regular bow, I would recommend it as a self-defense tool. Alright, now we have the crossbow. The crossbow is, I would say, a very tactical weapon. If it comes to self-defense, it's also a good hunting tool. But it has some downsides against the regular bow, and that is it's kind of difficult to operate, because it's after every 3 shots you have to pour some paraffin or some how do you say this, wax on top of the gliding where the arrow sits, so it doesn't get too much friction. So that's something you need to think about when you purchase a crossbow. Second thing is, it takes more time to reload. With a regular bow you can shoot, like, if you're well trained, 20 to 30 arrows in a minute. Not that you need it, but it's a sign to tell you how fast you can shoot with it. With this, after every shot you have to, especially with this one, depends on the power of the crossbow, but some crossbows need a special tool to draw the string all the way to the back. So that's something to think about. This is just a low-powered crossbow. These have big power, but these are still manageable to pull by your own, by putting your foot in here and draw with both of your hands. So that's kind of annoying about this. But yet again, it could be very tactical, and it has a lot of power, so you can take out bigger game or a self-defense for against a person. So let's see. We're gonna put one of these sporting arrows on top of it, and let's see if we can hit the bottle. Safety off. To be honest, it went right through the bottle, and I think something else because it has a lot of power. I will check it out where it landed. So from the bottle through this, through that, if you can see it, it went still inside of the building. So this has tremendous power, this thing. And to be honest, because it penetrated so much things, the feathers are a little bit damaged. So like you can see, it has a lot of power, this crossbow. So another underestimated self-defense weapon is just a sling. Yeah, it's one of the first throwing weapons, long-distance weapons. They were highly feared under the Romans because they could be hit with lead. They usually slings from the ancient times, Greek, Roman times. They used a lead bullet almost, which was kind of like a cone, and when you spin it around, it could reach like over 100 meters a second. So it was very deadly. It was, and you could not almost not hear it or see it coming. So it was a very deadly, and it's, to be honest, it's a weapon you have to practice a lot with. It's very not easy. I've practicing it, and I'm still not good at it. But yet again, I improvised a sling. How do you make a sling? Just take a patch where you can put something in it. I'm gonna use this rock, but usually something in a cone cylindrical with a small tip is usually better. And how heavier it is, how better. Um, take two cords to the sides, and one of the cords must have a noose in it. So take it, put this around your pinky. One. Take the other in your wrist. So you have this. Then you put the rock inside of the sling, and let's see what this will give. You can do it above your head or under your head, but we'll see how this will work out because I'm not that good at it. It's just to show you how this could work. Yeah, it's an improvised thing, so it doesn't work that good. So let's see. You can see it. Yeah, it's kind of failing, but you get the gist of it. Keep on practicing if you want to use this. You can use it to hunt against swarms of birds, to hit a bird in a swarm, or as a self-defense tool. Think about the story of Goliath and David from the Bible. So that's just a demonstration how it could work. I failed at it, like you can see. So let's go to the next one. So not many people would think it, but just a simple catapult is a very effective weapon, especially when you got a good one like this. I'm gonna use a little metal ball for this, and you just use it like a bow. Just the same thing except smaller, and it's a very good, very underestimated weapon, to be honest. So it can do a lot of damage. That's why you always have to be very careful with using a catapult. I'm gonna use it on that bottle over there. So we're going all Bart Simpson on his ass. So looks like I missed. It's also a small target, but hey, a person is usually bigger. Let's try again. Yep. I glanced off the sides. I don't think that it's done much damage to the bottle now, but I can trust me. When you hit somebody in the face or on the hands or in the knee with a big enough projectile with enough power behind it, yeah, it will not be his best day. You can also use this for a hunting tool in your bug-out bag for hunting small animals like birds or rabbits or something. So I would advise this as a cheap self-defense tool. So, all right. Yep. Like you can see, this was a throwing with a knife. But to be honest, it's a Hollywood myth that this can kill someone. This is mostly for distracting or to wound somebody, so you have time to get away. So throwing a knife is just something to have fun with mostly, and in the most desperate situations. Because if you throw a knife at an intruder or an attacker, you don't have a weapon anymore. So that's very bad. So that was just something a little fun. But just a regular knife, keep it on your body, in a bug out bag, or around the house for self-defense. Don't forget, there are several ways to use a knife. There's more to it because it's not. I would advise to search some security footage of knife attacks. It's not a clean. Usually, a person is not just a clean stab in a deadly place and then the person collapses. Usually, the attacker is just keep stabbing wild around. So there is no. Most people will be throwing a knife around in the hope to slash, which is very nasty in most situations. If you have to use a knife, always grip it properly for stabbing, for slashing. Stabbing is more deadlier, to be honest, or perhaps you can do it underhands for stabbing. But this is more useful for when somebody tries to grab your wrist to hold the knife, and then you can turn the knife and open and slice open their tendons of their wrist, so you can get out of that grip. So a knife is just a basic self-defense tool, very cheap. You can use it like this Glock knife, or how do you say this, a kitchen knife, or something else. Knives are everywhere. It's just a basic tool and self-defense tool. So another good self-defense tool is just a polearm. It doesn't have to be a long one, actually. Like you can see, this one is a pole. This is not really a polearm, but you use it to prick holes in the ground for seedings. But this garden tool can even used as a if you sharpen, especially when you sharpen this, can be used as a kind of makeshift spear, to be honest. And so in the same way, you can throw it, but then you lose your advantage, your weapon. And the best thing about this is distance, because if the other person is also armed and he has a knife or something else, a club or something, this is a good weapon to keep him at bay and incapacitate him. I would advise to. Most people think you have to stab in the danger areas, I would say. But to be honest, you can incapacitate somebody by aiming for the wrists and the legs, the weak spots, to incapacitate them instead of killing them. Yeah, just a simple weapon. When you try to stab, don't go all the way. Just you have to stab from the center mass of your body, so you can. If you go too far, he can grab the weapon and pull you off your balance. It's always important to have balance, stab, and that you can retrieve it when he's going to counterattack. Same thing, you can use it from above, stabbing, or you can go back and give him a knock on the head or on the wrist, because if he has a weapon and you use the centrifugal force of the weapon, if you get that on your wrist, he will have problems with holding his weapons. So I would say try to look it up, look information up about quarter staffing and spear fighting in manuals or something, or from professionals or from videos, and train it, because it's a versatile weapon, a polearm. But you have to keep watch for the small details and the, like I said, keep in balance. Don't overreach. Always be firm with it. So just a simple weapon. You can just also use just a stick and sharpen the tip, and you'll have the same thing. So a lot of people like to think self-defense and clubs as a baseball bat or something. Why? Because it's used as a sport utility, which allow them by some loophole in the law that you can have it in your car without being it's considered by the police as a weapon or something. It's something like that, but look up the local laws about that. But I would prefer, instead of a baseball club, a baton or a nightstick, like they call it in America, I guess, because it's more versatile. You can use it as just like a club with a lot of force. You can use it from close distance. With this, when you're in a small space like a hallway or something, you can punch with it. You can break through glass with it, punch, or you can use the centrifugal force of this by using the handle like this. You will see what I mean. You can hold it like this for self-defense, to glide off other clubs or weapons, and then you can, like you can see, if that hits somebody, it will be not a good day for that person. So you can use it in several ways for self-defense. You can try to drag an opponent off his balance by grabbing something that is loose from clothing or something and try to pull in, or something like that. Or you can try to, like I said again, try to block a club or something and drag it away and knock with it with like a hammer. It is a very versatile weapon. So that's what I like about this, and it's also handy for enclosed and spacious. It has not that many reaches, but that is compensated by the versatile multifunctionals of this weapon. So just a nice stick, very good weapon for self-defense, cheap also, and easy to learn actually. So another civilian weapon you can use. This is more a weapon than a tool, so it has no multifunctional thing, but I guess a lot of people like swords and collect them or something, I guess. I practice Iaido, which is a Japanese sword drawing, and I'm second dan at the moment. So when you want to use a sword, you can use it on several ways. This is just a katana, especially when you're going to use a weapon, a sword, as a self-defense weapon, whether it's a katana or a long sword or a under halver sword. Always make sure that it's one piece of metal. A lot of cheap swords for collectibles or something, or non-functional swords, are connected with the handguard with just two vices. So when you try to smack something, this is it can break from this top, from this bit when you try to hit something, and the danger is that it can go back, can break off, fly back in your head, in your face. So it's even more, it's a danger to yourself as for your opponent. So sword, what can you do with a sword? Just always go from the center of the mass. You have different fight stances, so you can attack in different directions. You can try to half sword. Half swording is grabbing the tip of your sword and try to stab and guide the front of the sword in a very specific spot, which is very handy when your opponent is wearing something like body armor or something. So you can take very precise stabbings. You can also, when it's still in the katana, in the holder, you can try to smack it, or just cutting stab, or in the fighting stance. You can choose where you go left, and always try to cut in 1/9, and you can keep cutting. Try to use the momentum of the sword for the cutting action, and when you cut the sword, you do the cutting mostly with your shoulder. The sword is, you just almost lay the sword on the spot you want to cut, and it's the shoulders that do the actual cutting. So sword, be very careful with it, because if you're not trained in this, you can you can wound yourself as much as the opponent. So be very carefully when using swords. It's not a toy; it's a dangerous weapon. So now we have an axe. This is just a regular axe you can use in your bug out bag or in your bug out vehicle or something. But to be honest, when we think about axes, we think about battle axes from the Vikings or something. But a small thing like this could be useful for not only a tool but also a self-defense weapon. Try not to throw it, because it's very difficult, and most axes, except axes that are specially designed and built for throwing, will not be, and especially with the expertise of the person in question, throwing an axe is not a good idea. You lose your weapon. But yet again, on an axe, it depends how effective it is. Depends on how you use it. I've used just try to hack into something, and yeah, now you're exposed for an attack or for a counter attack. So you must keep a certain rhythm in it, and that way the person who's on your property or attacking you has no chance for a counter attack. Depends on how you use it. Yeah, so that's a way to use a simple axe as a self-defense weapon. So these were the most likely self-defense tools you can use as a civilian. I would highly suggest to be very careful with it. Self-defense is an utmost serious matter. You don't want to get into legal problems, and even if you're doing self-defense and you kill another person, think about the consequences. First of all, the thought that you took a human life, always try to prevent it. Try to incapacitate someone instead of killing them, even in self-defense. Because the second thing is, you don't want, even when you're in the right, they came to rob you, and another person and the attacker or looter or thief got killed in the process. Even if you do it in self-defense, these persons have friends, partners, family, who will take revenge on you even when you're in your right. So think about that before dealing out that fatal blow. So yeah, this is a video. This was my video about self-defense tools. I hope you learned something from it, got some ideas. Subscribe, leave a reaction if I forgot something, or give me another tip. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, subscribe, react, like, all that good stuff. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.